Hey guys, back working on the project again today. What I'm working on today is the rear spring, because I want to get the rear axle mounted under the car. I had originally planned to put the spring over, like it would have been in a Model A. My rear end is a 36. And the spring I got, I'm not even sure exactly what it's out of. Who knows? I bought it online. Guy said it was Model A spring. When I got it home, I measured it. It wasn't, which is fine. I can still make it work, I'm hoping. Problem I'm running into is one of two things. I was originally going to put it spring over on this axle. I had weld-on spring mounts. I was going to weld to the top of the axle, mount it the same as it would have been with a Model A spring. But I found with this spring, it made the rear end super high. I never welded anything, but I get it all jigged up, and it just wasn't going to work. So I said, well, that's fine. I'll use the stock spring mounts on this axle, at the end of the wishbones. When I did that, the spring was too narrow. So it's either too high one way or too narrow the other. I could have made it work with great big long shackles, which would have made the car unsteady, and it would have looked like crap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this spring apart and I'm going to de-arch it. So de-arching a spring, there's a couple ways to do it. Easiest way is to do it cold. If I do it cold, I don't have to put heat into it. Well, it's the definition of cold. But when I'm done, I don't have to do any treatment to it to get the temper back to the spring. The spring's still fine. Whereas if you take a spring, heat it up, it loses its temper and it's going to lose its shape. So we'll do it cold and see what we get. So if we de-arch it, it won't be as high, but when you de-arch it, so it's not coming as high anymore, that lengthens it. I can't talk very well today. One more try. That lengthens it from eye to eye. So what I'm hoping to do, leaves falling on the top of this thing. So what I'm hoping to do is gain some length on this, so I can mount it on the stock mounts on this axle, which is spring behind, and it should work. Cross my fingers. And if it doesn't work, well, that's fine. I'll just go and buy the proper spring and mount it up. But this way, I've already got this one. It's here. It's sitting in here. Give her a try. Wish me luck. So as you can see now, I got the spring all apart. They're all separated. What I've been doing before I go and try and change the arch of these, laying them on the table, drawing with a Sharpie on each side, so when I come back in from the press, I can see how much change I've made. And I'll show you on this one. This is just a little top one. I'll bring you over. And you can see right here, look straight down, how much I've gained on that one. Now that was right on that line when I started. So let me go and show you on the next one what I'm doing. Okay, you can see what I've got set up here. Tighten that up. Now I've got a block across here so that when this comes down, I'm going to get pressure straight in this little section. Up top here, let me show you there. Right up top there, there's a gauge, so I can watch the pressure. I'm going to keep putting the same pressure each time I move this. That way any change I get should be fairly consistent. Now spring shops have a rig all set up to do this. I'm not a spring shop. So you can see this moving some. And I'm going to two-ton. That's it. Back it off. move it a few inches to get to the next spot. Do the same thing with the same amount. Now, someone may be saying this, watching this, saying, gee, you could go a lot further than that and move a lot more. I'd rather take small bites and have to go through it twice than to screw this up and have to try and go back the other way. Yeah, another one there. The spring sort of flattens out at the end, so no sense in pressing on the flat part. See right there, it's pretty much flat. Let's see. Might be one more. Not much sense in going any further because that's flat from there out and actually starts to bend the other way any further. So I turn it around, put the other end in. Hey, look at that, it'll fit. So same thing, about the same distance from center. The more I do this, the braver I get as far as how much I'm willing to give it at one time. Again, I don't want to go too far. And yeah, one more right there. Now I should have been counting how many times I pushed and how far away each one was. I could even take a marker and measure it off, which I probably should if I continue doing this. And there. Let's go check that against the mark we made on the table, see how much we gained. So if you look here, this was scribed right against it. Both sides, I gained almost the thickness of that leaf, which tells me I should be taking a little bit more, but I'm going to do them all the same. The first couple I've done, I did the same amount, same pressure. I'm going to go through the whole stack at that, stick it all back together, measure my eye to eye length, see how much I gain. If it's half of what I need, great, I'll go back and do the same amount again. Again, little steps rather than mess up the whole bundle. Someone asked me why I don't heat it up. It's been real easy to heat it. I don't want to take the temper out of the springs, I just want to reshape them. So they will straighten out with the pressure, but if I heated them to do it, they'd probably just fold up on me once I do go to use them. Now, I may use heat if I decide, once I get this together, I may decide to reverse the eyes on the main leaf, but I'll burn that bridge when I come to it. I may use heat there, but it's only going to be right at the eye, so it's not going to give up too much, I don't think. Okay, I've been playing with this a little bit. I bumped the pressure I was using up to 5 ton when I get to the main leaf, and you can see how much I gained there. So I get the same thing on both sides, about the same distance there. But if you look here, and this is my main purpose, is to gain length. I've gained about 3/4 of an inch already. And the distance that is from the edge of that table is how much I've shortened this. So I'm going to run them all through again at that pressure, see where I end up, and then I might run this one through again as well. Reassemble it and see what I have for a length. Here, I'll show you this one again. This is the main leaf. I just ran it through again, still at 5 tons of pressure. And since I bumped up the pressure, I've been measuring how far I move the spring each time. I'm only moving it the width of the anvil on that press. So 2 passes through at 5 tons each. You can see the difference in that spring. If I go straight over it, you can see lowered this spring unstacked right now, just sitting here by itself, by the width of the eye, which is, 1.25 inches or so. And I've gained approximately about 1 inch each way. So we're getting close. I'm going to run the rest of them through at the same rate and see what I get, and then I'm going to reassemble it and take a measurement. I'm not going to be able to get an accurate measurement of what this is eye to eye until I get the stack assembled, because this spring is going to move. Anyway, I'm going to run the rest through and we'll come back and reassemble. You can see by the lines here now, run them through at 5 ton one more time, and we've gained a lot. So now to check, see what we've got going on, I'm going to reassemble this stack and take a measurement. And that'll tell if, like this smallest one that's mainly just a spacer at the top, I might have flattened it a little too much, but I can always put a little arch back in it. We'll see once we get it clamped together. Okay, let's stack them up. Longest one. Next longest one. It may have been, that second one may have been straightened a little too much, because I did it at 6 ton versus the other ones. I may have to go back and put a little curve back in it. We'll see. And this guy. Oh, I missed one. Bent in, just one. Make it so I can actually fit them in here. And line up the bolt holes. Okay, I just come back. I put a little curve back in this one. All I did is pressed it the other way. I put a piece of round bar on it, pressed down. And with only about half as much pressure as I did going the other way. So it's cut back pretty close to the shape of the floor. Okay, what do I do with the center bolt? Oh, that one's buggered up. We'll do enough for us to measure. Be able to get enough. When I clamp this up, I'll be able to. How much did we gain? We gained quite a bit. We gained, I'm trying to think, what was it before we started? 39s, eye to eye. Now we're 41 and a half, pretty much exactly. So we gained 2.5 inches. I'd like to have 44. So 2.5 inches. So we gained about half of what I want. And I never took a measurement how high this was before I started. Right now it's at 16 3/4 high. I never took a measurement first to see how much height we gained. Okay, I'm going to go take it apart slowly, release a little bit of pressure on each side, and take another pass at it. I've never had one of these stacks go flying, but it could. I'll lay it down here. Remind me next time to do this way, and I can still have it laying down to do everything accurately. And get out the sequin pins. And the fact that I'm losing height on the spring doesn't bother me a bit because it's way too tall already. I could end up doing all this and replacing it anyway. I want to at least try the parts I already have. Off we go. Okay, I ran them through at 5 times again. It gained me 1 more inch in length and lowered me by 1/2 inch. That's a lot of pumping on that old manual press, but I'm getting there. I'm almost where I need to be. It now, from center of eye to eye, is 42.5. I want 1.5 to 2 inches. Because eye to eye on the spring mounts on the axle is 49. Minus 5 should put me in 44. So if I'm 44, 44.5, I'll be happy. So I'm going to take these back apart one more time, hopefully the last time. And we'll go over and try and make it work. Fogging up bad here too. All right, I'm going to lay these down, take it apart. Now that I've done it a bunch of times, I get sort of a system working out. So that second time didn't take me nearly as long as it did the first time. So I'm just going to take these apart. You've seen me do that before. I'll just pause you for now and we'll come back in a minute. Center. I'm just counting widths of this. 1. They're slightly overlapping. 2. around. And that center one back out, pull it over one week. One. And I can see in the dirt on the spring where it pressed each time. And this block is slightly chamfered. You get a little radius on it, too. So it's not leaving any marks on the bottom side of the spring. I don't want any weak points when this keeps working. It would break. So keep that in mind. If whatever you're using is really sharp, it could dig in there and make a weak point in that spring. Now this thing's going to be so light in the rear, probably hardly ever going to work these springs for it. Almost done. A couple more to go. Well, we're closer. I went through them all that time, went to 6 tons, excuse me. I gained another ½ inch in height, I think it is. What was it last time? Last time it was 16 1/4, now it's 15 1/4. So you gained ½ inch the first time, and another inch there. So in height, we're down, we went from 16 3/4 to 15 1/4, so we gained 1.5 inches in height, which is awesome. And lengthwise, we're now 43 1/2. What were we last time? 41 1/2. So we gained 1.5 inches, but I need a little bit more. I'm going to have to run them through one more time. Might not go to 6,000, or 6 tons, excuse me. I might go just 5 tons on one pass. That last one, I didn't do these top two. You see, this top one's still not quite touching anyway. It's just a thin little spacer. What time of day is it? It's 7 o'clock. I'm thinking that is a job for tomorrow. It's late and I'm hungry. Okay, I'm back at it at the spring this morning. I just ran all of the leaves through the press one more time. This time I did 5.5 tons, 5.5 tons. Luckily on this press I got a gauge on it, shows me the pressure. If I was using a press without a gauge on it, it would be come down, make contact, then count the number of pumps. It'd still work. It's just not quite as accurate, but still, either way. So now let's check with our tape measure. I'm going to flip this around. Okay, where are we? Total height now, just 15 inches, almost exactly. Which, what was the first measurement we took the other day? And that was after one press. We were at 16 3/4. Now, overall length, eye to eye, which is exactly 44 inches, which, if I remember my numbers correctly, that's the number we were looking for. So now, got that center down. I'm just going to grab a washer here as well. And I can put this nut back on, and hopefully, this may be the last time I have to take this stack apart. I say hopefully because still have to put it on the car and see what happens there. I still have to check on the ride height. I want to make sure that this is going to sit at the right height. Even though we've gained probably 2 inches on height, I'm not sure where it's going to affect the body sitting, or the frame sitting. So, That's not going to fall apart. Take these off finally. Like I said, we've de-arched the spring cold. It was a lot of labor, just a whole bunch of pumping on that manual press, but on each leaf, each time it was 9 presses. I do 1 in the center and then 4 either way. Keeping track of the pressure. They all stayed pretty much equal as to how much they were changing. And we're done. So to de-arch the spring, it does make it lower because the arch isn't as high. And when you do that, it makes it longer eye to eye. My problem was this was way too short eye to eye. To make it work, I was going to have to either go with like 4.5-inch long shackles, which I didn't want to do, or a longer spring. Now, I had looked it up and I could have ordered one. Johnny Law Motors had one that was 45 inches, the right height, everything I wanted. But they don't give them away, so. I already had this spring. I figured, what the heck, let's try it. It worked. So that's all for this one. We get the spring pretty much where we want it. Next step's going to be hang it on the car and mount it to the axle and see what happens. Like I said, if it's still too high, I can reverse the eyes on these, which is going to give us another inch and a quarter if I have to. But I think it might work because I'm doing spring behind rather than spring over. We'll see. I'll let you know. But for now, that's it for this one. I don't usually say this, but like, subscribe, all that stuff. Anyway, get out in the shop, go do stuff. Don't forget your safety glasses.